The Goat House is back, grading more free agency signings. This is our second video full of signing grades, and there'll be more to come after this. Let's get to it. Panthers add Patrick Jones, pass rusher coming from the Vikings, 2-year, $20 million, $10 million per year. It's a pretty good deal for the Panthers. Gave it an A-. Yeah, perfect world, they get a bigger name, a better pass rusher because they needed upgrading there, but looking at what those pass rushers are going for, a lot of them kind of getting more than expected. He only goes for $10 million per year. Was very productive given he was a rotational guy, was behind 2-star pass rushers that Minnesota had. So I think this is fairly solid. I gave it an A-. I'm very curious to see how he is as a full-time guy as an edge rusher. But a solid value signing for Carolina. A couple Bears signings in this video. We had the Dolman signing in the last video, but they added Dayo, Odeyingbo, one we predicted him going to the Bears. 3-year, $48 million, $16 million per year. We were kind of warned, we were talking about it before free agency, that even the media was saying, the media doesn't usually say stuff like that. Like, this guy's going to get overpaid, around $16 million. He gets exactly $16 million. And there are positives here, and it's growing on me a little bit. I've actually graded it higher than I was planning on doing so, even before what team he ended up. But yeah, I mean, $16 million, not really sure what they come up with that price range, given he's off a 5-sack season and he's been underwhelming, and you're kind of really banking on a lot of upside here. I know his pressure rate was better than the sack numbers. It's one of those ones, like, even if he ends up like a insane beast this year, like an all-pro player, like, I don't think that's going to happen, but even if that happens, it still doesn't really change. Like, where did you come up with the $16 million? So that's where I was that little head scratching, and why I was I planned on, because I heard he was going to get this much, so I planned on grading it pretty low for whoever got him. But it is growing on me a little bit for multiple reasons. I do like the fit. I do like the Bears add someone young here. They've added some veteran guys on the offense along with the guards, not necessarily the center. Grady, Jarrett, who we'll talk about in a second. So keeping it younger here. Fits Dennis Allen's defense. Has a lot of upside. He has the physical traits you look for. Very strong, super long, pretty athletic for that size as well. So I do like the upside. And you look at some of these, I mean, look at he's not a defensive tackle, but look at the defensive tackles and the way they're getting paid right now. So it actually starting to look a little bit better, I suppose, even though I don't know. A guy like Patrick Jones gets $10 million. He's more productive playing less snaps than Odeyingbo. So not saying he's going to be better, but I don't know where they get that number from, right? And the Dennis Allen thing, it is a Dennis Allen fit in his scheme, but it's because he's a Cam Jordan prototype. You look at the Saints all this time for years and years and years. Dennis Allen's been trying to find the next Cam Jordan. They've been going just power and length, and they've been missing a lot on these guys. So hopefully with the Bears, better luck with Odeyingbo here, but I bumped this grade up a little bit, growing on me a little bit, mainly because the D-tackle market, like what those guys are getting right now, $16 million doesn't look as bad, but he's got a Bears got to be a little more consistent off the edge, too. So they don't have a lot of consistency with it, even though Sweat's really good. Odeyingbo's got to be more consistent. But they're starting to put the D-line together, right? It's really starting to come together now. Bears are on a big-time spending spree right now. They had Grady, Jarrett, who was actually just cut today. He once was an elite defensive tackle. He's been underwhelming recently, declining a little bit, but I still think he's got it in him. I know the Falcons have been very underwhelming with the talent around him. The Bears have Sweat. They add Odeyingbo, see how much he does. Got a good run stuffer in the middle, Andrew Billings. Dennis Allen's a good defensive coach. I think they might be able to revive Grady Jarrett here. I'm going to give it a B+. 3-year deal is a little more than I would love. I wish 2-year perfectly, and of course you can get out of it looking at the contract for 2 years, but it's still, if it's a 3-year, it's a 3-year. But $14.5 million per year. And people will say, yeah, is he declining, though? Is that the right price? I still think he's worth a little bit more, because you look at Javon Kinlaw got $15 million. I know he's younger, but looking at some of these other defensive tackles, what they're getting, I think Jarrett could have kind of like a re-breakout year here. It is a little risky because it's, even though $14.5 million per year is pretty solid, it's total 3-year, $43.5 million. And what if he does the same thing this year as he did last year? Then it's going to feel like a waste. So there is a little bit of risk there. But again, I kind of like it. I like the fit. I think he could play fairly well here. He signed right away, so I think he likes the fit as well. I give this one a B+. Bills signed Josh Palmer to a 3-year, $36 million deal, $12 million per year. Yeah, we'll start with the downside. There is a downside to this. The Bills, it feels like they're stockpiling, maybe not stockpiling, but They got a bunch of average to, yeah, a little bit above average. Shakur's above average. We hope Keon Coleman can be that, but they don't have that stud receiver for their stud team, for their star quarterback, Josh Allen. That's kind of the knock, but I do like this deal. Palmer's solid. He has upside. He can play great with Josh Allen. You know, he again can continue to play better and better football. $12 million per year is pretty solid too. I thought maybe he would get a little bit more than that, like 15, 16 million range, just because look at the market last year. Guys around his tier got 13 million. The cap went up. Everyone's getting overpaid right now. So I think this is pretty solid. I kind of like this one. You know, perfect world, go out and get a big-time receiver. Are they going to get Cooper back? We'll see, but I give it a B+. Jags signed Patrick Mekari, versatile offensive lineman from the Ravens, to a 3-year, $37.5 million deal. That is $12 million per year. Jags having a pretty random free agency, I think. I mean, the guys they're are filling a hole, but they're not long-term solutions. They're kind of below mid-tier guys. But there are some signings that I do like. Mekari stands out. I gave it an A-. Is he the best offensive lineman in the world? You know, not really, but he's solid. He has experience. He's going to plug in at that right guard spot. And he's very versatile, I think, which is huge. That's the key here. Because Walker Little, durability concerns, looking at his past, you know, it's not a sure thing. Like him and Harrison will be able to be the tackles all year long, so Mekari could fill in at a tackle spot if he absolutely has to. So I do like that as well. Looking at what the other guards are getting, I thought maybe Mekari would get a little bit more. I do think this is appropriate value, but I thought maybe he would get a little bit more. So interesting free agency so far. Again, it kind of reminds me of a Cardinals free agency a few years ago, or the Texans a few years before that when they got coaches for the first time. It's like kind of they're putting a Band-Aid on a lot of their holes. Like they're helping, but are they long-term major impacts? Not really, but it doesn't mean they don't have any, you know, good signings here. And here is another one. I really like Robert Hainsey, the Bucs' versatile offensive lineman. He played every single position. I mean, you don't want him to have to fill in at tackle, but he's played it in his past. But mainly an interior guy. He's going to play center. Another one that we predicted him going to the Jags. He's going to play center. He's a fit in Liam Cohen's offense. $7 million per year is how you do it when you're paying a center. You know, not an over. I don't like overpaying centers. I don't like paying them, even if it's not an overpay. I don't like paying a lot of money for centers. So you get a solid one that has good experience and he's pretty versatile. I think it's a really solid deal for Jacksonville, kind of a sleeper free agent here. Talanoa Hufanga, 49ers safety, going to the Broncos. This is a boom or bust signing right here. 3-year, $45 million. I did not expect him to get $15 million per year. Now, if he's healthy and on the field, and if he's recovered from his past recent injuries, he's an all-pro level player. But it's a what-if scenario away from the Niners. Is he healthy? $15 million per year is a lot for a guy that he played 7 games last year. He played 10 games the year before. So typically guys that are that injured do not get $15 million per year. You know, a guy like Cam Bynum, another safety, got $15 million per year. I just didn't expect it. So, I mean, if he stays on the field all year, he's going to be really good, I would think, as long as he's the same player after these injuries. The 49ers felt like Mustafa might be better and especially cheaper. So, it's hard to grade this high because it's very risky. A guy 7 games last year, this guy played, and 10 the year before. I think you could have got him for cheaper, but the Broncos were pretty weak, I thought, at safety, so it is an upgrade, again, if he's on the field. But Vance Joseph, he'll be a fit. He'll know how to use him in the box, blitzing upside. Just got to stay healthy. So it's just a little bit of a surprising number just because of the durability concerns. Brandon Stevens to the Jets. He was one of my sleeper free agents that I thought would end up being a steal. I did not expect him to go for $12 million. Not that that's a crazy amount. You know, the top corners are going for a lot more. Do I love them in the Jets? It's the Jets probably all-man scheme, coverage scheme, knowing Aaron Glenn and Steve Wilkes, and I wish it was more of a mixture of coverages at least. He does have upside. He was more of an upside guy. I wish it was a 4-year deal for a little bit less than $12 million average. Does get to play with Sauce Gardner. I felt like a C+. It was a little more than I expected. Do I absolutely love the fit? No, I do think the player has some upside. Just felt like a C+ signing here for the Jets. Aaron Banks to the Packers, getting a whopping $77 million over 4 years. He's getting offensive tackle money or elite guard money at $19.25 million. So a lot of people ripping this one. I was originally going to give it a lower grade because is he worth that? He hasn't really proved that yet, but this is growing on me for a couple reasons here. Well, one, I mean, the Packers do typically get the most out of offensive linemen, so I actually think he's going to play well. but it's mainly about the value. Other reasons I bump it up, I think his best football is ahead of him, but the main reason here is the Packers either needed a center or a guard. They're probably going to move Jordan Morgan over to center, I'm assuming, who was their draft pick last year. So I'm not a big fan of spending a lot of money on a center. I would rather spend a lot of money on a guard. So they're going to have him at guard, and then therefore, they actually save money at center. They spend it at guard. So I thought that actually made a little more sense. They still spent an absurd amount of money here, but Packers, actually another reason too, the Packers offense line typically is really good. Last year I thought it was a little off, mainly with the run blocking. Looking at 2 years ago, like Aaron Jones had wide open holes. Looking at last year, Josh Jacobs had to break tackles in the backfield. And Aaron Banks does bring you really solid run blocking. That's what he did with the 49ers. So, and again, I think his best football is ahead of him. So it's hard to give this a great grade because 19's it's more than expected. It's a lot. Again, elite guard money or tackle money, whatever you want to call it. But it even though it was a surprise, there's reasons I explained kind of makes it make sense a little bit here. Another addition for the Packers, Nate Hobbs, corner coming from the Raiders. Underrated corner, very versatile too. He plays inside and out, not just in the inside. And those types of corners that play both are very, very valuable in today's NFL. And Byron Murphy being the high-end one that is still available at the time of me talking right now. 4-year, $48 million, $12 million per year. I think very useful for the Packers. Again, they're probably going to use them both inside and out. It's not the best corner in the world, but the best corners in free agency are getting paid a lot more than this. So I thought it was a decent deal, maybe a tiny bit more than I thought he would get, but I think it's a pretty decent deal. I think a pretty solid fit for Green Bay, so I give it a B. Man, in general, the Raiders are kind of having a tough outing. They're losing key free agents, their own free agents, resulting in them, like they're declining right now. I mean, they had Geno, but the rest of the team, it's still early. But there is a good signing here at Malcolm Kuntz. So this is a perfect situation. It's nothing to you can't really get too excited about one-year deals because it's essentially a rental. It's a one-year thing, but it's a perfect scenario for them and Kuntz. Kuntz was injured last year. He was solid the year before. It's a good chance to see if he still got it, if he was just a one-year wonder pre-injury, so that makes sense. And $12 million, looking what the other pass rushers are going for, I think is very, very solid. So this specific signing, I like. It's nothing that's like, wow, because it's a one-year deal, but I like it. But the Raiders as a whole right now, they're almost taking steps down a little bit, losing key guys. Well, technically they got better at quarterback with the trade, but there's still a lot of offseason left to get better, though. But interesting, to say the least, start of free agency for the Raiders. And they added Jeremy Chin, which I think is a fit for Patrick Graham's defense. He, moved Mareg to, more of the strong safety role, like in the box last year, and he lit it up. And that's what Chin is. That's where he thrives, up there. So they know they're going to get the most out of Chin. He's going to play fairly well for them. It is a massive downgrade, I think, for Mareg. I think his upside was absurd, but it is a lot cheaper, but you're still not getting better. You're not even staying the same. So it's a tough to grade here, and Chin's a little inconsistent. 1 second looks like, all right, there's that Chin we expected. And 1 second it's like, all right, you got to get better maybe at that, an upgrade from him. But $8 million is on the cheap side. So you see me kind of splitting the difference here a little bit, but overall pretty good value, good fit, like I said, so a B. A big one here, the Cardinals signing Josh Sweat as we projected, 4 years, $76.4 million, $19.1 million average. I thought he would get more. His pass rushers are getting a lot of money these days. Perfect world, I think a 3-year deal would have been a little bit better for him, but not that we're splitting hairs there with that. But 19.1, I think right there, he should get anywhere from 19 to 21 million. I actually thought you give a guy a range, 19 to 21 million, and then you expect in free agency guys to get more than that top part of that range, and he gets the bottom part of it. So overall, we know it's a fit. It's a big time, much needed upgrade for the Cardinals. So overall, this has got to be an A. It's pretty close to being an A+, but given an A, is a big-time addition for the Arizona Cardinals. Charvarius Ward to the Colts. What is going on with Ballard? He's actually making moves in free agency. As I said on Twitter, it took for him to almost losing his job to actually realize, hey, I have to actually do something in the offseason to make the team better. He was all about just keeping their own, keeping the team the same. That's been underwhelming. So they go get Cam Bynum, And I graded that in the last video. I liked it. Spoiler. And they go and get Charvarius Ward, who is my second best corner in free agency. It's a major upgrade. Much improved. I like Ward. $20 million is a lot for a corner. I'm not a big pay $20 million to a corner type guy. But at the same time, a massive upgrade, number one. This is a perfect fit in Lou Anarumo's defense. The Bengals would not supply Anarumo with this type of corner before, and they were missing it time and time again. He gets it now. It's a big-time corner. Carlton Davis got $20 million. I think Ward, even though I think $20 million is too much for both of them, I think Ward's better, and he's way more durable. So $20 million starts to make some sense. Great fit. Again, really good man coverage corner, but familiar with zone as well. So the Colts are not going to be stuck in the... With Eberflus, they were cover two. Then Gus Bradley, they were cover three. You got to mix it up. And you're able to do that with better players and with better players that are able to mix it up, like a Charvarius Ward. So I like it. This is a big impact signing right here. Again, hard to give it more than a B. The more I'm talking, I want to give it more than a B, but $20 million is a lot. It's kind of against my beliefs of paying a corner, an insane amount of money, but I do like the fit. The Colts are getting a lot better right now. Tershawn Wharton to the Panthers. Another one that we predicted here, that the Panthers would be on Milton Williams, and if they miss on him, they get Wharton. It's exactly what happened. 3-year, $54 million, $18 million per year. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for Wharton, who had a really good year, but it was his only good year with the Chiefs. How will he be away from Chris Jones? I do like the fit. I like the fit next to Derek Brown. This one's grown on me a little bit, even though it is a lot of money. They missed on Milton Williams, so they kind of had to pay up a little bit here on Wharton. Originally was going to give it a lower grade because $18 million, it's a lot. But I do like his upside. He stopped the run pretty well this year. He got after the quarterback. There's some guys that are much lower quality free agents than him that are getting 15 around that range. So growing on me a little bit. It's a lot of money. It is a strong defensive tackle class too. So was it 100% in terms of the draft? So was it 100% necessary? But one that, again, more and more I think about it, kind of growing on me a little bit. Ryan Kelly, longtime Colt. It's going to be weird to see him away from Indianapolis, but goes to the Vikings, 2-year, $18 million, $9 million per year. Love this for the Vikings. I mean, the Vikings have been looking for a center for a long, long time. They get a solid one. I didn't even think this was going to be possible for them. And $9 million per year is a pay cut since his last contract, which was over 12. He's under like Tyler Biadasz money. I just was not expecting this. So this is really solid for the Vikings. I know maybe he's declining a little bit. But a major upgrade for Minnesota, and I'm not a big fan of paying centers. Once you get over that $12 million range, it's getting a little sketchy for centers, not as valuable as guards and tackles. So I think this is really good for Minnesota. I had them in on Will Fries, his teammate, the Colts right guard. If they can land him now, I mean, it's just absurd upgrades for Minnesota, but we'll see if they can actually go out and do that. They've lost Cam Bynum, defensive side. Byron Murphy still out there, so this was a pretty good one for Minnesota, though. Darius Slayton back to the Giants. I mean, I'm kind of surprised he's going back to the Giants. I thought maybe he would get more than $12 million from another team, or even just accept a lesser deal from another team just to kind of get more consistent, get going on a better team. But at the same time, I should not be surprised because he just always stays in the Giants, even with all the trade talks and everything. But yeah, I thought he would get, this is the appropriate value, $12 million, but I thought he would get a little bit more from Chargers, Panthers, Commanders, Steelers got DK, Titans maybe. So a little bit surprised that, at least I am. But appropriate value. Giants got to get a damn quarterback so guys like this could get going a little bit more consistently. Solid. I give it a B. And that'll do it for this one. There's more signings happening right now. There's going to be another great video after this. There's 2 down right now. So if you haven't seen the first one, go check it out. Follow us on Twitter for live updates. We also have a spreadsheet going, link pinned in the comments with tracking kind of everything here. But join us, like, subscribe to notifications. It's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.